Prime Field.
UConn lost the number 1 pick, and 117 made threes walked out the door with her. So here's the real question. With roster flexibility still being debated publicly, who does Geno Auriemma actually want next? Because this offseason is not about panic, and it's about replacing one of the most specific weapons in college basketball. Azzi Fudd wasn't just a scorer. She hit 117 threes in 2025-26 and finished her UConn career shooting 42.2% from deep. That kind of gravity bends an entire defense before the play even starts. And now UConn has to rebuild the spacing around the best player in the country, not just any player. Sarah Strong is returning after winning the Wooden Award, Naismith Trophy, Wade Trophy, AP Player of the Year, and USBWA National Player of the Year. She averaged 18.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, 3.4 steals, and 1.6 blocks. That's not a star. That's a system by herself. But wait, this is where the entire conversation gets messy. Fans keep throwing around 2 open spots like it's confirmed. The research says not so fast. The exact number of open scholarship or roster spots for 2026-27 is not clearly confirmed in the public sources reviewed. So the smarter question is not, do they have exactly 2 spots? It's this. Does UConn use its remaining flexibility on an experienced guard or wing? And if you know Geno, that answer tells you everything. UConn doesn't need a random bucket getter. They need an elite impact fit. That's the difference. Anybody can score. Not everybody can score inside UConn's read and react machine. A volume shooter with shaky efficiency? Probably not the move. A veteran who can defend, shoot off movement, make quick reads, and keep the ball moving with low dribble decisions? That's the archetype. Because replacing Fudd is less about replacing points and more about replacing fear. Fear of the kickout, fear of the relocation 3, fear of helping one step too far off the weak side. That's what opened the floor for everybody else. But wait, this is why the portal conversation around UConn is so interesting. Geno Auriemma has been vocal about what this era is doing to the sport. Recent reporting quoted him calling the portal plus revenue share era the death of the mid-majors and the death of high school players. Think about that. UConn can criticize the system publicly and still know it may have to use that same system to win big in March. That tension is the story, because the Huskies are not rebuilding, they're rebalancing. And when a title team is rebalancing, every portal move has to solve a real basketball problem. So what problem are they solving? Guard depth, perimeter creation, spacing, late clock shot making, March lineup flexibility. That's your target board. This is the trap. The biggest mistake UConn can make this offseason is looking at Azzi Fudd's exit and thinking the answer is just to go find another scorer, because Fudd's value was never just about how many points she gave you. It was about what her presence did to the entire floor. She made 117 threes in 2025-26 and finished her UConn career shooting 42.2% from deep. That kind of shooter changes how defenses behave before the possession even develops. One extra step toward Fudd opens a lane. One late closeout creates a swing 3. One moment of hesitation gives Sarah Strong more room to work. That's what UConn is really trying to replace. Not just points, pressure, fear, spacing. That's why a random high-volume scorer is not automatically the answer. If that player needs the ball too much, slows the offense down, or puts up numbers without elite efficiency, UConn could actually become easier to guard. And that's the danger. A star name can win headlines, but the wrong fit can shrink the floor around Sarah Strong and make the whole offense feel tighter in March. That's why Geno's real target, if UConn makes a move, is probably not the loudest portal name. It's the player who keeps the ball moving, punishes help defense, and makes opponents pay for loading up on Strong. Because replacing Azzi Fudd is not about copying the box score. It's about preserving the geometry of the offense. And if UConn understands that, the next addition does not have to be the biggest name. It just has to be the right problem solver. But wait, this is where a lot of fans get trapped. Portal rumor culture moves fast, and the research specifically warns that some portal chatter around UConn included unverified player name noise that should not be treated as fact. In other words, if a random account says UConn is deep on somebody, that means absolutely nothing until there's actual school, conference, or roster confirmation. That matters because one real storyline did show the type of player UConn would logically want. Kaimora Johnson. Not as a confirmed target that got away, but as the kind of portal player who fits the mold. She entered the portal conversation, then withdrew to return to Virginia after averaging 19.5 points and 5.9 assists while helping lead UVA to the Sweet 16. That's the template. An experienced backcourt creator, somebody who can shoot, make fast decisions, and stop defenses from swarming Sarah Strong. Not just a name, a function. That's what UConn would be hunting if it decides to make a move. But wait. The next answer for UConn might not be 100% portal. The incoming class still matters. Olivia Vicosa is a major part of the long-term picture, but even her ranking has to be stated carefully. One UConn signing release called her the number 3 player on ESPN SportsCenter Next 100. Another UConn article referenced her as number 5 according to Prospects Nation. So the clean takeaway is simple. She's a consensus elite recruit, even if the exact ranking depends on the service. And that matters because UConn does not have to portal chase out of insecurity. They can portal shop from a position of power. That changes everything. The most dangerous mistake UConn can make is chasing star power instead of lineup chemistry. Remember, the research corrected earlier stat framing too. Sarah Strong's official scoring average was 18.4, not 19.0. And that matters because this whole roster conversation has to stay grounded in what's actually confirmed. Same with Fudd. Her season-long shooting value and made threes total are supported, but older scoring claims in earlier drafts did not line up with the official numbers reviewed. So let's not overcomplicate it. If UConn uses its roster flexibility, the ideal target is probably this. A veteran guard or wing who can hit from deep, defend without breaking structure, make fast reads with minimal dribbling, and create something late in the clock when March possessions get ugly. That player may not be the flashiest name in the portal, but that player might be exactly who wins them 2 extra tournament possessions. And that is usually the difference between a Final Four and cutting down the nets, because look at where UConn already is. They just made the program's 25th Final Four, entered the national semifinal at 38-1, and still returned the most decorated player in the sport. That is not a roster in crisis. That is a roster one elite fit did away from feeling unfair again. So when fans ask, who are the top 5 names UConn should target? The better answer is to start with the top 5 traits: movement shooting, decision-making under pressure, point of attack defense, secondary playmaking, and zero ego about sharing a team with Sarah Strong. That's the real portal ranking, because the wrong star can shrink your offense. The right connector can unlock everybody. And that's why this offseason is so fascinating. UConn doesn't need saving, it needs precision. Not desperation, not rumor chasing, not fake portal smoke. Just 1 or 2, if they even use that flexibility, perfectly chosen perimeter pieces that preserve spacing, shot making, and lineup versatility in March. That's how you replace Azzi Fudd without pretending you can replace Azzi Fudd. And honestly, that sounds exactly like a Geno Auriemma offseason. So now I'm throwing it to you. If UConn adds 1 portal player, what matters more? Shooting, defense, or playmaking? Drop your answer in the comments, subscribe for more women's hoops breakdowns, and share this with the UConn fan who already thinks Geno has a secret portal shortlist.
Prime Field!